It's up for grabs now!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira!
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it! Well,
Fabulous solo goal by Thierry Henry.
Afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Arsenal Lounge. Unfortunately, Tom is not going to be able to make it. He had something that came up, so it's just going to be the three of us. And before I'll start the show and everything, if you guys want to talk about the board behind me, go for it.
Sack the board. Sack the board.
That board,
You know,
I don't know what's worse, the Arsenal board or Shaheen's board. Which
that's
one?
Mikel Arteta's tactic board. That's what it is.
I think Shaheen's board is a bit more reliable. It's
Yes.
there all the time, it's doing what it's
You know,
supposed
it's going to
do.
be like this, consistent.
But I think you remember on the last one that we did, yeah, I did say that until Shaheen changes that board, nothing's going to change at Arsenal. And then we talk about commitment of fans. We talk about, oh, there's so much left of the transfer window, this, that, the other. Why aren't they doing anything? And I told Shaheen straight up, that's why Arsenal are cursed right now. If he changes that, we'll go and win.
It's my
Because
fault,
of you, Mo, you're going to be getting fans now harassing Shaheen over the board. Sack the board and
Nice,
sack
all right.
Shaheen's board.
We'll figure something out for the board, no problem. And yeah, so let's start
Oh, hello, by the way.
the thing. I'm coming to everybody. Mo, how are you, brother? You good?
Well, yeah, I'm good. My team isn't. We're here to talk about the team, not me. So I just this constant feeling of frustration as an Arsenal fan. I think everyone can relate.
Yeah. How's it going with your channel?
Yeah, man, it's good. The way people have backed it and stuff is brilliant. I did my fan cam yesterday, uploaded it, just under 50k views, in a day. It's brilliant stuff, man. Honestly, people have been great. So just looking forward to that growing and seeing where it goes. New content, new ideas, trying to do stuff.
Yeah, and if you guys don't know, Mo, that's his name, Moh Haidar underneath. That's his channel name as well. You can go and catch Mo's after game reaction after the game.
And
Abidjan.
You made your debut as well, Shaheen.
Yes, I did. If you want to see my fan cam as well, you can go and see it. Yeah, it was
Not
a bit late.
Not a board in sight on that one.
No, not a board inside. It was a bit late, and Mo had to go through some extensive course with me. I had to do this, upload it and all that, but we got there at the end. So, Lev,
Yeah.
Abidjan, how are you?
Ecstatic. I'm ecstatic to be here to talk about the Walmart Nuggets. That's what we're here for,
very
isn't it?
good.
So,
Very
I'm
good.
waiting for my club to return, Arsenal. But in the meantime, yeah, man, I'm good.
Good
Just
stuff.
waiting
So,
for change.
let's get into it. It's
All
not gonna be. Let's not beat around the bush or anything. Lev, why don't you start? What's your thoughts on yesterday's game?
Yesterday's game. What are my thoughts? Well, look, we were all kind of expecting it, weren't we? And anyone who is going to say they weren't is probably lying to themselves. I mean, we're all sort of deluded in a way as fans. We want the best for our team. We all expect, an Arsenal team to show up for especially a London derby, one of our biggest rivals of old. What were my thoughts? Well, we all were worried about Lukaku bullying our centre backs. That happened for a start. It was a very simple tactic Chelsea had. Feed the ball into Lukaku. Lukaku backs into Mari. He peels off. He rolls Mari. He either lays it off or he looks to shoot. It was causing chaos from what I could see. I mean, funnily enough, we started all right for the first 10, 15 minutes, but the minute they started getting in the balls into Lukaku, I think what we were trying to do, what Arteta was trying to do, was seemingly have Xhaka screen in front to prevent that ball coming, getting to Lukaku. But that's a very difficult ask. He's not the most mobile of centre midfielders at the best of times. So it was only a matter of time before that was going to happen. Very weak at the back. It was causing panic with our fullbacks. Tierney unusually out of position a few times. Saka not tracking back on the first goal. I mean, we could go through it all when you want. But for me, it was very disappointing. It wasn't anything I wasn't expecting. And unfortunately, they did exactly what I expected them to do. They folded, and they didn't really have much answer going the other way. But I'm sure you're going to go into the ins and outs of it.
Yeah, we'll go into the game later. Mo, how about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I just I find it funny because on one hand, right, I'll say that I had no expectations going into the game. I thought we'd lose. I said it last week. I think we'd lose 2-0. We lost 2-0. People might say to me then, but if you thought that was going to happen, why are you annoyed? And actually, what's worse, what annoys me more than the result is the fact that I thought we'd lose. That in itself is annoying because a result of one individual football game is just sort of, it can come down to a good performance, a bad performance, luck, referees, whatever. But going into a game thinking, I don't think we'll win is a lot deeper. When you think that, that's not luck anymore. That's not a refereeing thing. That's basically management of the club. That's where you find yourself in terms of your strategy. There can be mitigating circumstances, obviously, significant injuries, that sort of thing, or whatever it might be. There can be loads of other things. But with Arsenal, that's why I'm still very annoyed, because the result is always going to annoy me because I'm a fan and we're emotional. But it's just the fact that we've set ourselves up after spending £130 million for years and years and years, just kind of deteriorating. And we come into this game, none of us thinking we're going to win. And the other thing I'd say as well, what annoys me is that I look at this fixture last season, go back to that date and look at what Chelsea have done since and look at what Arsenal have done since. And my God, the two teams have just gone opposite directions.
Yeah, it's very true. My thoughts on the game was that it was one of those games that everybody knew exactly what's going to happen. And that is exactly what's happened. We talked about this last week after Brentford game where we did the show. And I said, if they could not handle the Brentford centre forward, how are they going to be able to handle Lukaku? Yeah. And this is the second game that I've seen Pablo Mari falling in a 6-yard box looking at a referee to get a foul. And that is not what I'd like to see from a centre-back. Again, there was no plan. Maybe Arteta could have gone 3 at the back. He could have maybe played Tierney at the back. Maybe we'll bring Chambers. Nothing. It was just exactly the same thing as Brentford. Same thing. Different opposition, but same plan. And that is the disappointing. But we all agree that we knew we were going to lose. But for our biggest defender, if you like, to get muscled out of the ball like that more than once or twice is worrying. And I am worried about that. And again, it's made me more worried about the season and what's happening in the club right now, because I was watching it on Sky and there was I think it was 86 minutes, and I've seen that quite a lot of times on Twitter. It's going around. There was they put the camera on Mikel Arteta and he was just, his head was down, he was looking down, and it seemed as if he was lost as to what do I do now. And it leads me nicely to this now, Mo. We spend more than everybody else as of now, because Man City can go buy Harry Kane and will be the second biggest spender. Okay. Yeah. They signed players. The players that they signed, there's an argument to say that probably they're all potentials. They're not for now, right now kind of games. Maybe Odegaard, but that is also a potential kind of player, right? So we played 2 games, lost 2, conceded 4. We have not scored any goals. We haven't really looked threatening, to be fair. This is going to get worse next week against Man City, because that'll probably be another loss and no goals and more conceded. We can see this, right? A lot of fans can see this. Last night we were together and we were talking about these things, and if it's so obvious to us and all the fans, what is it that the board is seeing that we're missing out? Because these things that I just said, spending all of this money, bringing players that are effectively B team players or they're ones for the future, and saying, oh, these guys are good, they're going to come in. And then you've got players like Saliba that has gone out on loan, and I've watched a couple of his games from Marseille. He's very, very assured, and I tell you, he's not worse than Pablo Mari. I can tell you that now. Okay, and then we say, going forward, we don't have a lot to offer. Tammy Abraham, he's not good, this and that. He goes to Roma. I saw his game. I saw highlights of the game yesterday. 2 assists, hits the bar, makes a really good run. Keeper fouls him, gets sent off. I know it's one game, right? But I'm sure he would have done more for us than Gabriel Martinelli up front. So what is it that they're seeing, and I'm not? And I'll talk about myself more. Please enlighten me, because I'm now questioning myself. That maybe my football knowledge is really poor, and I'm missing out with something here.
Lev, help him out, bro.
Well, there is the football knowledge being a bit poor, but we'll let him off through that. No, I'm only joking.
I'm
only joking. Do you want me to answer that? I mean, he's put that to you, Mo.
Look, man, I'm sure a lot of people are asking these questions, because have you seen this clip of a fan, going up to Edu and say, I'm actually glad he's done that. It's about time that maybe Edu feels the heat a little bit, man, because we as fans, right, we're pissed off, we're angry, we're frustrated. We're not used to this. We're used to a team that is winning. Yeah, I've never known Arsenal for us to say, oh, we're going to lose against Chelsea. Let's just hope that we keep it the minimum, or let's hope that they put up fight. What are we going to lose? And then they spend so much money on what? We discussed this more yesterday. You remember, we were talking about Arsenal midfield for what, 5-10 minutes. Not once we mentioned Odegaard, because nobody is really excited about Odegaard. So, yeah, go on. Tell me something, man.
Yeah. What?
I don't know what to tell you. Like, people criticize, not necessarily me in particular. I don't think I've got a reputation as being a negative fan, but right now a lot of Arsenal fans are in a very negative place about the club, and I think understandably so. I don't think it's negative. I think it's quite a pragmatic, realistic view. There's not much I can really tell you, Shaheen. It just is what it is. You touched on the fan going up to Edu thing, yeah?
Momo, talking about that, I'm just going to put something on from...
I'm going to ask you to, yeah.
Yeah, a fan goes up to abuse Edu and his family is good. Wow. I didn't really see him being abusive to Edu.
Yeah,
if anything, Edu's daughter was abusive to him, showing him the finger.
Let's stick it back to Rightis Nevakonis. Where was the abuse? Because maybe you've seen a different video to what I've seen. I didn't see any abuse in that video. What was
there is a trend as well. Sorry, Mo. There is this trend that everyone speaks up. There's always somebody else that's apparently saying, you're negative or you're abusive. I don't understand. That's what us fans do, isn't it? We critique everything that's going on, no?
Yeah, I mean, but it can be done in a negative way. Sometimes I watch people where I listen to them and I think to myself, you seem to be enjoying this. Like, you seem to be reveling in the misfortune of the club. I certainly know I don't feel like that. I'd hate it if I came across like that. I don't think I do. I don't think you guys come across as though you're sort of like reveling in the negativity and the sort of misfortunes. But we have to be realistic. And right now we have 0 points, 0 goals. There's not really much to be positive about. We've got Man City next. We're not exactly very confident about that. So I think if we're feeling negative right now, I think that's a fair reflection. And there'll be other times where if you're, at our peak, everyone was feeling positive. But I wouldn't turn around to say to someone during the Invincible season when we're 36 games in and they're going, oh, what a great season. I wouldn't be like, oh, you're a bit positive, aren't you, mate? I'd say, yeah, that's how we're all feeling. That's a fair reflection of how the fan base is feeling. So now when someone says to someone, oh, you're a bit negative, I'm like, no, equal and opposite is true. I'll say, no, they're not really negative. That's a reflection of how everyone is feeling. If someone said, I actually think we're going to get relegated this year, I'd say, hold on, you're probably being a bit negative there, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's be realistic. We're probably going to survive, I'm very likely we're going to survive and stay in the Premier League. So that's where I kind of feel I need to draw the line. But I don't know if Writers has come back to us on...
No, he hasn't. He hasn't. Listen, for me, I would have done the same thing as that guy. Because from what I saw of the clip, he went up to Edu, he called him out, he looked, and then he just pointed to the field and said, what is this? And he's right. He's right. That's what we're doing, but we're just doing it differently. We're doing it on a podcast. If I was there, I might have done the same thing. I would say, Edu, what? I might have even said it differently. And then, if anything, there's an argument, and then his daughter turns around, shows the finger to the guy, and Lev, what's the carry, man?
Well, look, firstly, just touching on this whole thing with the Edu saga, and there was another one outside with Arteta in the car. It was a little bit different, that one.
Yeah.
But this is nothing new. The only difference is everyone now has a phone and a camera. That's it. I've been going since the 80s, right? Players were getting this sort of abuse on a daily if they weren't seen to be putting a shift in. Why? Because fans, that's what they go for. They finish their work at the end of the week. They're very hard workers, most of us. These guys get paid a lot of good money, maybe not so much back in the day, but they're still doing something they love. They've got a lovely life in comparison to most. We want to see a performance put on that pitch, right? We want to see that they care. We want to see results. And it's a results game, right? And you can't expect fans to be positive when results are negative. And they're not just negative, they're poor in the sense of the performance that we're putting out. If the fans felt that we were really trying and they could see some positives on the field, trust me, I know the fans, they would try to be positive. However, what's happened with the Edu situation, it's being filmed, people see that, and suddenly this big hoo-ha. So I think too much has been read into that. Fans pay their money, they want to see a performance. They want to see Edu doing what he's been paid to do, and clearly right now the fans do not feel that he's delivering on the promise. With regards to
Lev, hold on before you move on. If you were in that guy's position, would you have done the same thing?
It's tough. Listen, we don't condone abuse, right? And
he wasn't abusive.
Right? No, it wasn't. We've seen things happen with Ramsdale when he first joined and all that, and we were first on the back, on to jump on there and say, listen, this is not acceptable. But however, fans have a right to voice their opinion. They pay good money. They pay the best money in the Premier League for this, and it somewhat goes towards paying Edu's salary and everybody else's salary in that ground. So they have a right to voice their opinion. How it was put across, we're not entirely sure, but it didn't look that bad. It looked like he was basically saying, look what's going on out there. Is this acceptable? Kind of thing. And Edu is he's in there, he's turned up to the game, the fans are all around him. If he's not expecting anyone to say anything, then I don't think he's being really realistic in that.
Yeah, but he is in a public job. He is in a public job. And when you work in a public job, I remember Arsene Wenger famously said this: he works in a public job, people have opinion, you understand it, and you move on. Right? And
look, guys, can I just ask, right? If anyone is watching, and if anyone is watching right now and they haven't seen the Edu video, the way we're talking about it, the seriousness with which we're talking about it, what do you think they would assume has happened?
From what I saw, the guy was leaving. He went out. He called Edu.
No, I don't want you to say it.
Okay.
I'd love it if someone in the comments who hasn't actually seen the footage, you must be curious right now what's happened. I think they would think something quite,
serious.
Not even serious as in like an injury or something like that, but something quite disrespectful or whatever happened. Yeah. Now, let's actually like watch this, or I don't know whether we can even pull it up on screen or whatever at some point and watch it together. And I think that someone's had the courage or whatever however you want to phrase it, to say something to Edu. But what have they actually said? They said his name, and then they made a gesture. Let's face it, communication isn't only verbal. So there's non-verbal communication. It's a big part of the way we communicate with one another. And then he's gestured to the pitch. He's gone, Edu. And as if, what is this? Now, the way we're talking about that incident isn't fitting of what's actually taken place there. It's not that serious. I mean, we're pretty bloody soft the way we're talking about this. And the thing is today, there's two incidents that fans are talking about. One with Arteta, one with Edu. And I think it's probably worth us giving our opinions or speaking about why those incidents are different and where we all stand on them. So I've been talking for a while. Lev, you take it away, man. Your thought.
Listen, look, the thing is, I don't want to dwell on this too much, to be honest with you, because I'd rather focus on what the hell's going on in the club. But I think one of the problems, Mo, is the communication between the club and the fans itself, right? Because it's been poor for years. Let's be honest, right? And I think there's a frustration. There seems to be a gulf between the board, the people in pivotal positions, and the fan base, and no one really understands what is going on. There's too many strange decisions being made that are confusing us. I mean, Shaheen mentioned one earlier, the Saliba one. It makes no sense to us at all. And other players like Willock being told, you were questioning that he's our only attacking midfielder at the moment. Why is he going? Bellerin being kept on even though he's clearly not adequate. The right back situation being left. There's so many different things we can look at, and I think this frustration's got to a point where the fans are looking at Edu and they're wondering why he was even hired in the first place. We do it. So for me, I don't think he's done anything wrong. Approaching a guy in his car, that's a different matter entirely. You're going into somebody's personal space almost, right? And they could have their family in the car and all that sort of thing. I don't agree with that. But I think way too much has been made of this whole Edu situation. He should expect it. Fans have been doing it for years. Go on.
I think the argument here, right, is was the guy saying anything that is wrong? Because this is, I'll go back to what I was saying earlier, right? 4 games played, 2 goals conceded, and it was not like they outplayed us and they scored. No, it was soft goals, right? We didn't really attacking, don't look good, spend so much money. We're worse than last season, right? And the people who firstly responsible for it is Edu and Arteta and Vinay. So if a fan has paid his money, he's gone there and he's seen that, and he's given a bit of his mind to Edu.
What are you trying to do? Find the actual footage?
No, look.
Yeah, I think.
Wait.
We found it.
I'll send you the link, right? But don't play.
No, I found it. I've got it.
No,
more.
don't play it yet though, because there's 260, nearly 270 people watching, and there's only 47 likes on the video. I've just done a little quick check.
Oh, Mo, love that.
Do us a favor. We're going to play the video for you. You just do us a favor. Just hit that like button. Let's just have a flurry of likes being hit, and we'll get that video up. But before we do that, so you guys have got time to just smash that like button, yeah? What I would say is that for people, I wrote on my Twitter that it's pathetic what the fans who went up to Arteta's car did. And a lot of people stuck up for that fan or those fans. They said, oh, it's not pathetic. Now, let me just explain as a match-going fan, because I appreciate a lot of people might not be at the stadiums and they might not see the players coming and going. Very often when you're in your car, there's not like a special lane. There's not like a police escort for you or anything like that. People are right up against your car. So the reality is they are like centimeters, inches away from you. The only thing surrounding you is your car, the window. Yeah. Now, if a fan was to get aggressive, that would be a very threatening position for the person inside the car. Yeah. And the reason why I think it's pathetic that fans did that is that a lot of the time players go to the ground with their family. So you can imagine now, Mikel Arteta, if he wanted to take his wife or his kids to, for example, the game next week, would he feel comfortable? Would he be saying to his wife, yeah, no, it's fine, jump in the front, it's not a problem? I personally wouldn't. And that's why I feel like there's personal space and personal respect that those fans fell short of there. And even like what they were saying, they weren't abusive. They were disrespectful. They were rude. They were very direct. I don't even have a massive problem with that because they were saying, you need to go, do yourself a favor, get out of the club. I wouldn't personally do that. That's not the energy that I would carry. I'd rather have more of a reasonable conversation with someone than just shouting at them. But it's the nature of it. You know, imagine you're in that position, loads of people crowding your car. Would you not feel like myself, my personal property is at risk here? Whilst the Edu situation, it was literally his name, a gesture, and Edu is much further away. There's plenty of people around him. It's in a public sort of setting rather than your own private car space, and there's stewards there as well who offer some protection. So I'm just outlining the differences there between the two and why I think one actually was it's not that Edu one wasn't nice. That guy wasn't trying to be nice, but in fact I think there is a lot more he probably wanted to say and he held back on saying it, whilst the Arteta one, as I say, would make him feel less comfortable about being with his family on the way to games.
Yeah.
How we doing with the likes, by the way? Because
what?
I'm quite keen to see this video myself again.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
about
they're
100
double.
and something now.
Yeah, just over 100 likes. So look, people answered the call. I appreciate that. Thank you. And if you haven't,
Yeah.
smashed
Let
that
me
like
just-
button, don't play hard to get. Just do it. But appreciate everyone that did. So
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you.
play
And
that
don't
video.
forget to subscribe to Moh's channel and our channel, and obviously show the love there as well. So let me just put this on the screen. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Let me just put...
There we go.
So this is the guy, right? So he's just getting up, gone there, right? You see, he said something. I don't think it's abusive. He's just calling him.
Let's put the sound on so everyone can hear it.
Yeah.
Here we go from here. He's just calling him. And then you see, that's the daughter.
Or
No,
wife,
she
I
flipped.
don't know.
Oh, yeah, she flips her finger there. Yeah. So that's it. That was, you can't really say that's abuse, can you? I mean, he said his piece
Yeah.
and he's left.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
so-
And listen, this is what I'm saying, right? He's got a point. The guys that are going to Arteta's car, yes, it's wrong. They shouldn't have gone in, but there's a reason that they're doing this. And this is what I was saying earlier, right? Pre-season, rubbish. 2 performances, rubbish. A lot of money spent, no improvement, no tactics, no nothing. Same plan against Chelsea and against Brentford, right? We're not reacting to anything. The game is unfolding. Tierney is getting done on the left-hand side, right? We're not reacting to it. It's just same thing, same thing. So there's a reason these fans are reacting this way. It's not like everything is rosy and they're just going up to the guy's car. Oh, you this, you that, you the other. And this is what I was saying to you guys earlier. This is the current state of play. This record is going to get worse next week against Man City. Okay,
Shaheen, you hit on a point there for me, because it seems like the uncertainty on the off the field and on the field now seems to be spreading to other players, right? Because we showed some clips. I mean, I can even bring up if you want of what was happening yesterday, right? I mean, look at this, right? Lukaku, the ball gets rolled into him. You can see Tierney is tracking the player. He's worried, right? So you can see this continues here. That's just before. And look at Saka and look where Reece James is, right? But everybody else is sucked towards Lukaku because they're not confident that the centre back is going to deal with it. Both Xhaka and Lokonga are looking at that situation. And here on the second goal, Tierney gets dragged across. Doesn't need to be there. Why? Again, uncertainty. So it's breeding. It's breeding throughout the ground, throughout the team. That's the issue.
so
You know,
this is what I'm talking about. There was no plan to deal with Lukaku. We all knew what Lukaku is going to do. He's going to come in. He's going to try to be physical. But, you know, as I said, the plan against Brentford and that is the same thing. I see people going on saying, yeah, but he was missing 9 first-team players. Yeah, but there's still players there. He could have played a different formation. He could have reacted to things better.
Yeah, I mean, if we bear that in mind, that we were missing quite a few players. Let's say, for example, we had Aubameyang, Lacazette, Partey, White, and Gabriel in the team. Do you think we would have beaten Chelsea? Do you think we would have drawn against Chelsea, or do you think it would have been a defeat?
I know what my opinion is on it.
We might have put out a better fight, but ultimately the tactics would have been wrong again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because there's one thing saying like who had a really, really bad game, but there's another thing saying that tactically were we set up correctly, and I don't think so.
Yeah.
So,
Mo, you remember earlier I was telling you about 80th minute, they showed a picture of Arteta and this and that. You remember that?
Yeah.
Right? This is the one. Let me just show you. You see that?
But look. Do you know with things like this, like if it's a video, because earlier on I was just saying that a lot of communication is non-verbal, yeah? Now, if that was a video, I'd say that provides more context. In any single screenshot, people
No, I saw this live.
Yeah,
they showed it, they held it on him for about 10 seconds and it was like that. His head was down. And you know what? This is one thing, that having fans in the stadium brings, right? If there was no fans in the stadium, I don't think he would have felt it as much as he did. Right? Now there are fans in the stadium. If you don't play properly, they'll let you know. And they've done that.
Sheen, can I like something that came out in our conversation last night as well?
Yeah, go
Is and Mo touched on this as well, and it made me think about it last night. I was like, people were saying Tierney was terrible yesterday, and let's be honest, he didn't have the best of games. He was out of position in a pivotal moments. But then again, you could then say Saka should have covered on the first goal, like I said with Reece James, right? However, what Mo, when we were discussing it yesterday, what Mo did say was, look, where is our attack coming from? It's coming from Tierney, right? That's our main focus of attack. So we're expecting this guy to get up and down and put crosses in, and teams have sussed this out now, and they're letting him go, and they're covering that centre because let's be honest, there's not real much threat in that centre from crosses coming in out wide right now, is there? So then what they're going to do next? They're going to focus on the spacing behind Tierney, and they're going to expose it. And that's what they did to us yesterday. They were exposing the areas that they've realized is, our only pivotal point of attack, which is also our weakness because it leaves gaps in behind. And people were saying KT is rubbish now. It's ridiculous. You have one bad game, suddenly you're rubbish. Like, come on, let's get a grip. I think I will reiterate my stance on this. I don't think our squad is as bad as it's looking right now. I think with a better manager, it will look better and we would get some sort of results out of this. But he's trying to play a system that doesn't suit the personnel he currently has.
Well, you've got somebody that disagrees with you through the super chat. And, always super chats are always...
That's always
nice
fine to disagree.
Right? Yeah. Right, that's not true. Xhaka was asked to block the path of the ball into Lukaku. Even Murray was telling him at halftime, and Xhaka didn't do that.
Well, he's not disagreeing with me. That's exactly what I said. In the sense of Xhaka was asked to screen the ball from reaching Lukaku, but it was a big ask for me because I don't think he physically, his athleticism does not give him the scope to be able to do that. If you had someone like a Basuma or a Kante who can cover that ground, I understand. But what that was also doing is he's backing off to cover that ball in. You're leaving more space in the midfield to dominate and leaving the likes of Lokonga isolated. And then if you're asking him to press, and there was one, Mo mentioned it as well yesterday, there was one moment that he was asked to press. Xhaka was asked to press. What do you think is going to happen? One ball through that middle, and again, we're left exposed. If you're going to play like that, you need athletic midfielders that can get around the pitch, the modern era type midfielder, the Kantes and the Basumas of this world, not the Xhakas.
Mo, I'm just putting different arguments that I've seen on the internet and on Twitter and then social media is going around, and I'm going to put one to you. There is this saying, but Arteta doesn't have really the players that he needs to have in order to play the system that he really wants. Okay, isn't it true that he's had 3 or 4 transfer windows, spent the amount of money he has? Remember, he was promoted to being a manager, which now he's involved in a recruitment process. So he was part of his decision to give Granit Xhaka the extension, part of his decision to bring Willian, part of his decision to bring Ben White, send Saliba on loan. So would you agree with me that this argument is dead, that he doesn't have the player that he needs to play the system?
Yeah, I think it should be, because in a way, like, you could probably come up with, I'd guess, like maybe 8 or more players, minimum 8 players, I reckon, in a Arteta starting lineup where these are players signed by Arteta. But the fact of the matter is, when you do that, it could be slightly misleading because not all of them are designed to be first-team players. He hasn't been backed to sign 11 first-teamers, but nonetheless, you could say Ramsdale, and then on the right was Cedric, then Murray, Gabriel, Tavares. That's the whole back 5, and then you've got Partey. Who else have you got? Willian, Partey, Willian, Ødegaard.
Lokonga.
Yeah, so that's the 8, huh? Lokonga, that's 9. Is there anyone else that we're missing that he's
no, Martinelli was done before he came in.
So, I mean, the point I'm making there is that there's a hell of a lot of players there that are Arteta signings. I think he's run out of excuses, personally.
No, I think he was done last season. He should have gone at the end of last season. Lev, what would you think that there's an argument there?
Well, with regards to Arteta, listen, if you look back on
he
our
doesn't have the
shows,
players to play the system he wants.
look back on our shows, right? We don't lie, we tell the truth, right? Every fan has an element of being a flip flop because you want your best for your club. So sometimes you'll see a player and you think he's going to be amazing, and you're wrong. Sometimes you see a player you don't think he's going to be great, and you're wrong, right? He is great. So we have to accept we don't know everything, but for me, we backed Arteta at the beginning because we saw some sort of a change from the Emery situation, and we actually saw some sort of process and some sort of style of play. We saw a high press all of a sudden out of nowhere, and we were like, "Hold on a minute." We all bought into it, thinking this is going to be what City do, Liverpool do. We've all fallen behind with our style. They've played this new style. We need to learn how to play it, and that's great. Then obviously we were giving him the excuses because he didn't have the personnel. We were saying these are a lot of players that he didn't acquire, and we again, rightfully, in my opinion, we backed him, right? And then after a while, what we've started to see is the type of players he's bringing in that started to make us question him, in the sense of, is this the right sort of player? Now I think he's stuck in a situation between he wants to play a certain style of play, a certain tactic, a certain high press game, whatever you want to call it. But right now, he doesn't have that available to him. And the problem we have is, I'm not knocking him. I'm thinking of maybe a couple of years' time, he could be a very, very good manager. But what came out of our conversation yesterday as well is, what's his plan B? When he looks at his squad and he says, right, I don't have those type of players to play this way right now. What is his plan B? And he doesn't seem to have one. It's an in-between kind of style where sometimes they press, sometimes they don't. And you've got to look at your personnel and say to yourself, what am I going to do to get the best out of this particular team right now? And I think he fails due to experience. So, yes, I do think he's run out of time now, because, all right, we could argue, let's get this team, let's get these players in that are fit. And it's going to happen over the next few weeks. We'll probably see a little bit of what he can do with these players in, but I've lost faith in him. I'm not going to lie.
Fair enough. We've got our old mate Wayne in the house. Thank you very much for your super chat, Wayne. Very kind. Come on, guys. If your players aren't good enough, no matter the tactics, you'll struggle. Any team missing 4 to 5 of their best and key players will struggle. Could be Barcelona. Mo.
Listen, when I did the fan cams yesterday, I did say that. I did caveat, all of the disappointment and the annoyance that I was feeling with the fact that we were missing. I even limited it just to our first choice centre-back pairing. And I said, no matter who the team is, when your first choice pairing, both of them are out, you're going to be affected. So does Wayne make a good point? Yes. Does that point in itself excuse not just the fact that we lost, but the way we lost? No. So I think even with all those players, we still would have lost yesterday. And the one thing, irrespective of who's playing, and Wayne, let me know what you think about this answer to your point. Even with all of those players missing, the performance, the desire, the intensity, all of that should have been better. So whilst you could justify to an extent what you have said about players missing, you can't justify the lack of intensity and desire that the players who are on the pitch showed.
Shaheen, there's a comment by Chan SB. You can just pop that up for a minute. This hits the nail on the head. It's not about the missing players. It's about the manner of the performances, right? We can accept that we've got players missing. We're not stupid. We're logical people, right? We know that if you don't have your very best players against the very best teams, you're going to struggle. But it's the manner of our performances.
Yeah, I mean,
how easily we're beaten, and how little a team has to work to acquire a goal. You've seen how hard it is for us to get a goal. We couldn't buy a goal against Chelsea. We were trying our heart out to even try and get past them, around them. We couldn't do it, right? We just give goals away.
You're right, Lev. And the issue here that I think, listen, fans are not stupid, right? We know we're missing players. We know that there are, big issues right now with players being, positive cases for COVID or injuries. We understand that. What frustrates us is that there is no other plan. The manager is not reacting to the situation. So he's not trying to adapt and deal with the problem of missing players. Okay. The plan against Brentford is exactly the plan against Chelsea. Same thing. right? Regardless of what they do. And you know what? If I have to be very, very honest with you guys, right? At some points, Chelsea didn't even need it to try that hard. They were in control. They were assured. They knew they can score by turning it on at any time. If it wasn't because of Bernd Leno, we probably would have been 4-0 down. Okay, and Lukaku was having he was having a good time. He wasn't getting grief. He wasn't getting hassled by a defender. No, balls was coming up to him. He was controlling it, playing out. No problem. Very comfortable performance by Chelsea. One of the reasons I think the scoreline wasn't more is probably because Chelsea they decided to just control the game and just manage the game out. Mo, we've got exactly a week left to end of transfer window. Okay. We discussed this earlier that the players have come in. They're all potential players. So they signed for not now, for future. We still don't have a right back. Well, we do have a right back. We don't have a good right back. Going forward, we're still a bit short. Creativity-wise, they're still questionable. Do you really see anything happening in that week?
Look, the annoying thing is, when we did this last week and you asked me some positivity, I said to you, remember, Lev, you gave me stick for kind of like not being able to come up with decent positivity. But I did say last 2 weeks, we will sign. That's where I think Arsenal will do their transfer business. And we're a week on from that conversation. We've done our transfer business. We got Ramsdale and Ødegaard. The problem that I have is that, was that our business? Is that it now? Because having spent 130 million, I think maybe a few Arsenal fans would have said, actually, do you know what? If we spend 130 million this transfer window, they'd have been happy if someone had told them that right at the start. Yeah. Or in fact, it's 105 net because of Willock going out.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a little bit more. But the problem is, if someone had said to me, you're going to spend 130 million pounds, I'd have been thinking, oh, brilliant. A good centre back, Ben White, potentially. I would have expected 50 million there. Someone like Bissouma in the middle, 40 million. A new right back. A goalkeeper, potentially squeeze a striker in. When you look at some of the moves that have happened this transfer window, that all could have been achievable. So now you ask me with 1 week to go, where I was able to flip this question into something positive last week. I'm not sure I can this week because I'm not sure how deep our pockets go and whether we will be able to spend. Now, there are talks about Nketiah, there are talks about Elneny, there are some...
Torreira's going.
Kolasinac and Torreira as well. But, how much are we going to generate out of all of that?
But Torreira is going out on loan.
Yeah, with an obligation,
to buy.
Yeah.
There's talk 15 million, I think Arsenal want for Nketiah, but I think Palace, they're not offering that. They're offering less. Elneny, I'm not sure. But even if they raise funds, right, they're talking about Aouar again. Okay? And my question to you, Lev, because I know you're an Aouar fan, so where is he going to play? Because now we've got Xhaka, Ødegaard, Partey, Lokanga, Emil Smith-Rowe for that middle of the pitch positions, and he's not going to drop Granit Xhaka and Thomas Partey, so it might affect Emil Smith-Rowe if we sign Aouar.
You keep hitting me with this Emil Smith-Rowe thing every show, don't you? Like, because I like the guy. I think he's
been playing all right for the past 2 games.
Right. Look, it gives you options. In the modern game, you need options and you need strength in depth. If plan A ain't working, you need a plan B, right? We don't even have a plan A right now, right? So, at the end of the day, Aouar is the type of player, and I'm not saying I'm a massive fan of his and he's the only answer, but you need to fit the right pieces in the right holes. And right now, we're not doing that. At least Aouar's the type of player that he can come on and he'll commit defenders. He'll make them, a little bit concerned and pull them out of position, which then leaves spaces to run in behind for others or for strikers. We need people that can break through the lines, make runs in behind, and Aouar can do that. I mean, we don't have a player like that. I mean, the only player we did have like that was Willock, and we've sold him. Clearly, because we didn't think he was good enough, right? So, in my opinion, we need these type of players. And also, and I'm going to say this, I think we need another central midfielder as well as a right back, right? Because I think we should get rid of Elneny, we should get rid of Torreira, right? I don't. I personally, I think we're crazy going in with the same pairing of Xhaka and Partey. It's insanity doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. A famous man once said, Einstein. So at the end of the day, right, get someone in like a Basuma. I think Canavinga's another one that's being touted around for about 35 or 38 million. But personally, I would get someone like a Basuma, get rid of Torreira, get rid of El Nini, and then get an Awar in and get a right back in. And then I'll be happy. Until that happens,
Well,
this
Lev,
is not enough.
you know, respectfully, right? They've had a long time to do all of these things, and they haven't. I don't really see Arsenal going for 35 million for Camavinga or anything, or any player like that. And it's just, I'm not saying what you saying is not right. It is right. I just don't see them doing it.
Well, if they don't, nothing's going to change because this squad, as it is not going to do what we need it to do. Even if, look, the only way we're going to get anything out of this team is to get another manager in who's got experience. And as I said before, I don't think the squad is as bad as it's looking right now. But if you want to break into top 6, top 4, you need to go and change things, right?
Well, let me just get through the super chats, and then I'll come to more. Shadman, thank you for tuning in. I just tuned in. Hit the like button, guys. Everybody, please hit the likes. Subscribe to Moh. Subscribe to us if you're new. I just tuned in. Corinthians made an official bet for Willian, with Edu and Kia being involved with Corinthians in the past. It's a likely deal. So, yep, maybe. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that. There's another.
If that doesn't happen now, I'm going to come and find you. Don't give us that false hope. That needs to happen now that you said that.
Yeah, there's another one. Made in Brooklyn, 1979, $10. Thank you, brother. Arteta now speaks as if he and Edu have convinced the Cronkies on a new project where we rebuild and develop. Rebuild by developing the young players, and mid-table finish may be accepted until these kids come good. It looks that way. There's another one that has come through.
Sheesh.
Anwish Mishra, thank you very much, brother. I think that's 100 rupees, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you very much, brother. The biggest issue is right back. That's why Game is heavily involved in the left. Arteta addressed it last season using Saka as right wing. Brings me nicely to this, Mo. That's do you really see what Lev said happening, considering these guys had from I would say January last year to work on these things. And just before you answer me, there's another super chat from Pramod. We need a replacement for Xhaka Elneny. We need someone who's confrontational, tackler, interceptor. I'm okay even if he's a Elneny replacement. This is what exactly we've been discussing. So Mo, what's your thoughts on that?
Do you know what? When I see that confrontational tackler interceptor, I love that. I think it's phrased it really well. I really agree with that. But I think of Torreira. I personally don't understand why Torreira hasn't worked out. And I think there's a player in there for the right manager. But I mentioned this to you guys yesterday. I thought that when he goes to Atletico Madrid, that Simeone was going to bring out the best in him. But it just never happened. And I know he's had some personal problems recently, but I just look at Torreira and I think to myself, you're a good player, man. If I was the manager, if I was a new manager, let's say, for example, they shipped out Arteta, I'd be looking at him saying, actually, I'm not just going to get rid of you. I want to see what I might be able to do with you. So given that we're struggling so much to make the signings that we need, a player's already at the club. Could he be an internal solution? What do you guys reckon?
Just hold on. Just before we go to Lev on that one, I'm just going to read you Fabrizio Romano's tweets. In the past 15-20 minutes, they put out 2 tweets. So Fiorentina are offering 1.5 loan fee to Arsenal for Lucas Torreira, with a buy option including around 15 million euros. So that will be 16.5. We bought him for about 26 or 27 million euros. So that's another loss there. And then as the guys in the comments said earlier, Corinthians have made an official bid for Willian, confirmed. He wants to leave Arsenal, and he's now considering their proposal. Lev.
Look, I'm in agreement up to a point with Mo. When Torreira first come on the scene, he looked like the type of player we needed. Yeah. He really did. Whether or not he's that type of player that needs to feel wanted, and Arteta just didn't make him feel like that. I mean, personally, I would have kept Torreira over Elneny any day of the week. But then, like Mo said, he's gone to Atletico. He's not cut it. he must have had a good reputation for Simeone to look at him. So whether it's not something personal's happened and he's just not mentally there anymore, I don't know. Maybe he just suits Serie A better, which is why he's gone back to Fiorentina, or he's going back to Fiorentina. That's what it sounds like. The truth of the matter is the fact that we're talking about the likes of Torreira and El Neni and Xhaka in an Arsenal centre midfield when we have been blessed with some of the best centre midfielders the Premiership have ever seen. That's the problem for me. The demise. Our central areas should be our pivotal areas. They should be our very best of the players that are available. And we go and we try to put, I don't know, Band-Aids on heart surgery. It doesn't work. If you're going to do it, go out and get the right players. Partey is the right type of player for me. Lokonga is a great backup. He's still young. I mean, I'm very impressed with him, but he's still young. I'd go and get somebody else that's ready right now and have Lokonga as a backup.
I agree with that, Lev, but we also need to consider that we're not in Europe anymore. So all of that is for one game a week. Players might look at this and say, there's too many people for the same position. I want to go somewhere and play. Are you going to guarantee me that I'll start every week? And Arsenal will say, well, no, because we only got one fixture a week, unless it's a League Cup. So you got to consider that as well. Where you
need
talk
to
about
create
depth.
competition. You need
I understand that, Lev. I understand that, Lev. But listen, you need to look at it from the play. We're looking at it from the club. Yeah, we need to have competition, quality in every department. But then players will look at it and they'll be like, well, these guys, they don't look like they're going to play Champions League anytime soon. I want to go somewhere and I want to play. The manager is a bit of a hit and miss. Not sure what's happening. Do I really want to go there and sit on the bench? Or do I really want to go there right now and then fight for one game a week? Yes, strength and depth is necessary when you've got a lot of fixtures, when you're competing in 3 different competitions. We've just got FA Cup, League Cup, and
Listen, it's not difficult to go and get Basuma and convince him to join Arsenal, Shaheen.
Absolutely.
Come on now. That's a mute point for me, because it's not like you're going and you're trying to get a world-class centre midfielder.
But Lev, if they were going to do it, they would have done it by now.
Well, that's our issue, isn't it? Because we can see it and we're fans. I mean, I'm fed up with seeing comments on some of our YouTube videos. Oh, you guys are just armchair fans, etc., etc. We're fans. That's what we do. We watch games. If you don't have a ticket, it doesn't make you any less of a fan. I've been a season ticket holder for years. We can see things. We understand the game. I played semi-professional levels. Lee Judges has. You can see things, right? If it's not right, it's not right. And if we can see it, there's no reason the likes of Arteta shouldn't see it. 30 million, 40 million, go and get Basuma, get rid of El Neni and Torreira off your books and Xhaka off your books, and have Basuma, Partey, Lokonga, and you've got a backup in Lokonga there, right? It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I don't. You say that. Yeah, it's simple as that and everything, and to a certain extent, I agree with you. Okay, but they've done exact opposite of that. So they offered Granit Xhaka a new contract. They didn't really go for Basuma when he was crying out to come to Arsenal. Okay, and they bought a very young man, very inexperienced young man in Lokonga to come in Arsenal midfield. Rest is the same as last season. And last season, midfield finished 8th. So, yes, I would love to see Basuma and Partey play in the middle. But if they were going to get him, they would have done a combination fee. They would have done a deal with Brighton for both Ben Whites and Basuma. And unfortunately, they haven't. And that is the problem. Everybody loves Partey and Basuma at us. Everybody. We did shows with Fabrizio Romano, Moh, Lee Judges. Who else we had on? Tom, Eduardo. Everybody without fail wanted Basuma. Why are we not going for Basuma? Why are we not going for him? Why are we not going for him? And at the end, we haven't gone for him. I'm just reading out.
This
Wayne's
is a good point, by the way, by Wayne. And I always say this about Wayne.
Yeah,
I don't always agree with his points, but he always makes good points.
Yeah, Unai completely mismanaged Torreira. He tried to have him play high up the pitch, and number 10 role is caused him to lose confidence. Yes, Wayne, I agree, but that was a long time ago, man.
Yeah, you've got to bounce back.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like he wasn't mentally scarred by that.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll move on. You're professional footballers. I'm sure Lucas Torreira has had setbacks in his footballing career before.
Look,
Mo.
we've got about 5 minutes left. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to come to you.
I've just seen some people like pasting the same comments, same questions in. There's a lot of comments, a lot of questions. If you're that desperate, to ask a question, just put a super chat in. We'll get read out. Okay? Just a little tip.
Oh, is this someone sounding like Armpit by any chance? I'll just leave it at that.
We're just because what I would say, if anyone in the comments, if they want to hear me tackle that question, tell the gen.
It is right, because sometimes the comments are quite. It just goes on our side, it goes down, and then we don't really. Sometimes we miss questions.
Yeah, but there's no point control Ving it, just pasting it. Put the super chat down. Let's talk about it properly, because I think a lot of people with me think that there's going to be like a gotcha moment. There's none of those with me, because I'm a man of integrity. So
well, there we go. Somebody asked you something.
Every single issue, I'm going to be the right side of it. Put your money where your mouth is. If you want to test me, come and test me publicly.
More. Right, Ray.
Like
Ray
Eubanks there.
Feel deflated as AFC looks dead and can't stand the mocking from mates. Still, I'll take Basuma in a heartbeat. He'll breathe fresh hope in. Yes, and that's exactly what we're saying. But the people who are supposed to do this, they don't do it.
Shaheen,
they don't agree with us.
Shaheen, there's another point here I'd like to bring up. George M says Basuma would be great for us, but we would need to change our style for him. No, we wouldn't. No, we wouldn't. If anything, he suits the style he wants to play. He wants to play the high press. He wants to shut players down. He wants to be aggressive, winning the ball back as soon as possible. Basuma fits that profile perfectly. Yeah, so how we would be changing our style for him, I don't know.
Yeah, and Lev, I want to add to that. There's certain players, when you watch them play, you think you're an intelligent player. And intelligent players will be able to adapt to different systems. So I think to rule out the signing of Basuma purely on that, I don't think is true. Even if it is a different system, which I don't think it is really, because I think Basuma could slot straight in, he will be able to adapt his game. I think he's a really, really smart, intelligent player. And GP, if I missed the super chat last week, I'm really sorry, man.
Maximus has come out with something funny. What style is that? Which is a fair point as well.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, because we don't really have a style. But listen, we've been going for about 57 minutes. So just to round things up and summarize things, Mo?
I'm waiting for my mate. I'm just waiting for my mate to come and test me. Come on, you want to have this?
He stopped spamming all of a
sudden.
Now
he stopped spamming, yeah. When they get called out, that's it. They go quiet. Because listen, what I think is unfair, right, is that there's a lot of people having normal conversations and stuff, and there's a lot of people kind of paying for super chats as well, which obviously really appreciated. You're not gonna.
Oh, here we go.
Not gonna jump that queue. Oh no worries then. I would never miss one. But listen, you're not gonna jump the queue by just spamming. We're not going to reinforce that sort of behavior. So there you go.
Yeah, Paramount for another super chat as well. But Basuma will be really good if Brighton is not willing to sell. We should even look at someone like Calvin Phillips.
Oh, that ship sailed since the Euros.
Yeah, he'd be even more expensive than Basuma.
Calvin Phillips, I loved him for a couple of seasons. I think he would have been a right profile player. But I think you've got much more chance of getting Basuma than you do getting Calvin Phillips right now.
That I really agree with that. I think because of the English premium as well, he's even more expensive. And the other one that I wanted you to just put on screen, if you don't mind, is oh damn, where is it? Yeah, that's it. It's from Malik07.
Malik07.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can find it.
How far up do I need to go?
6:59 p.m, bro. Not far.
Man's got times for it as well. 6:59. Let's have a look. Malik, where are you? I'll see if I can find
because
it.
Once you're waiting for that to come up, I think he makes a really good point here. We're talking about the impact of signing Basuma on Partey. And I think that if Partey gets someone and plays next to someone for a spell of games where he thinks this guy's got it covered, then that will allow Partey to do more and more of what he's good at. Whilst with Xhaka, I feel as though perhaps other players need to maybe compensate for Xhaka's lack of agility, mobility, discipline, awareness, that sort of thing. So I'd love to see how much better Partey is with a proper partner in midfield.
Exactly. I totally agree with you on that, Mo. Like, I think there's more to come from Partey. And also it gives you more options if you've got two very strong pivots there. You can, you could do something a little bit different in midfield. Maybe you could have an Odegaard playing next to him, and then have Emil Smith throw in that 10 or something like if you've got two beasts that can cover that ground quickly, it changes the whole the whole concept of everything. And I don't think right now with Xhaka, we keep getting caught. If he goes too far, we get caught. If he stays too deep, we get caught. It's pointless. And Wayne's at it again.
Yeah, Wayne, thank you again for the super chat. I think Arteta and Edu aren't interested in Basuma like players to partner with Partey. It's more Bruno Guimaraes type player. Yeah, that's fair point.
Or either one, I would be very, very happy with. Either one. I think.
Yeah, well, listen,
both very good players.
Arsenal are taking the time to sign players, right? They should really take a leaf out of our book here, because as you all know, and obviously we're hoping to finalize this from next week onwards on Mondays. Hopefully, we'll have lead judges as part of our panel as well every Monday. So it will be me, Lev, Mo, and lead judges, and we might do the show a bit later on to accommodate that. But he will be a very, very welcome addition to the Arsenal. He has been with us for a long time, and we love having him on. And this is how we do things. Edu, you should see. Go out there, speak to the guy, get it agreed. Boom. If you change things, do it, get it on. So I just wanted to announce that as well. And also, I just want, when we finish the show, obviously on the comments, or if you're watching this show when it's done, please comment for us in the comments. What will be your lineup next week against Man City? Because it's going to be again a game that you're going to go there, you're back against the wall. What lineup would you have against Man City? So comment please for on the comments on the video. We've been going for an hour. Mo,
just one thing.
Finalize things, round things up.
Yeah, just one thing I want to say as well is we really need to call out Leno, especially his second half performance, especially that wonder save. That save, it actually, the whole North Bank that I was in, I felt like it went quiet. People were just like, whoa, like, damn, what a save that was.
Yeah,
it was a brilliant save. And if it wasn't for him, as you said earlier, Shaheen, it would have been much worse. And the other person that I thought is worth mentioning, for the second game running, Emil Smith-Rowe outperformed the very, very poor level. I thought he did really well in just carrying the ball, bringing it forward, eating up territory. Didn't have the help around him, though. And I can't remember who it was that got the block in when the ball almost broke to him and he got a shot off in the area. Very, very close to him getting, potentially on the score sheet. And then Aubameyang, when he came on, as I was leaving the ground, Aubameyang was doing a warm down. I shouted at him and I said, good intensity, keep that up. And he kind of gave me the thumbs up, because we were talking about what we'd say if we saw Edu, for example, right? But when you are there, you have a very limited opportunity to just say something to a player. I wanted Aubameyang to know, actually, I appreciated the fact that he didn't come up on the pitch and walk around. He got into sprints. I'd love to see the stats of like how many sprints he made. And I reckon in the short spell he was on the pitch would have been more than a lot of players, because he seemed up for it. He seemed to actually care. He seemed uncomfortable with what was on show prior to him coming on the pitch. And hopefully he brings that. It's easier to do that as a sub than a starter, but hopefully he brings that same motivation and that same desire into the West Brom or Man City game, because, we really, really need players to dig deep. We're not going to come out of this spell that we're in just like that. Even when we get to easy opposition, after Chelsea and Man City, we get to Norwich, Burnley. Can't remember who's first, but we are going to need players to dig deep, because when there's this lack of confidence, no game is easy. You need players to pull you out of that.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a chat as well from Tom, Gooner Talk TV. Sorry I couldn't make it, boys. Entirely my fault. Damn those potato peelers.
That's a real gooner. Clearly not a Spuds fan. Hey.
Get well soon, my friend.
Tom, we need pictures, man.
Yeah. Stop lying.
Yeah, get well soon. Lev,
yes.
Over to you, man.
Well, I mean, I do agree with Mo on the Leno thing. We have, to be fair, he's a good shot stopper. We have seen him make some excellent saves over the seasons he's been with us. Is that a reaction to Ramsdale coming in? Perhaps. You just don't know, right? This is what we're saying. With regards to Aubameyang, he actually came on as a centre forward. in the middle, and it was very close to being put through, and the ball was overplayed. He made the right type of run. That was a one sign that you could see that he still has the pace. He still has the nous to get in behind if we've got the right type of players to play him in. Our problem is always been the profile, the type of players that we're bringing in. That's the issue. But look, all we can do is try and stay positive as fans. I have seen some dire teams over the years, believe it or not, in the 80s and some in 90s. So look, all I can say, let's remain positive. Put your comments in regards to your lineups for the City game. West Brom, you got West Brom on Wednesday. Let's not forget. Shaheen, I think it's coming Wednesday.
I know, but
West
I thought City's one is a bit more interesting because I'm really interested to see if Arteta will go there with the same thing again, or he's going to actually change it around because City away is a difficult trip.
Yeah, you're right. Look, at the end of the day, we just want to see our team progress. We want to see it progressing on the pitch. We want to see the best Arsenal team we can put out and a performance we can put out at least. So all I ask is, guys, just keep supporting us. Smash those likes. If you haven't subscribed, please don't freeload. It doesn't cost you anything. Just subscribe, give us support, and we'll do our ultimate best to try and get you answers and get the best guests that we can get on.
Definitely. And obviously next week, sorry, got more.
500 people watching and 191 likes. So come on, man. Just
come on, man.
Please, guys.
If each one of you just liked, that's 500 likes.
Next week we're gonna obviously, hopefully, we'll have lead judges with us as well, and it's going to be an interesting show next week because the time that we're going to do the show is going to be about, I think it will be 2 or 3 hours away from the deadline day, transfer deadline time.
We might have to do a special.
Yeah, maybe we should do a special. So it will be interesting to see what Arsenal will do. Personally, I don't really think we'll have any incomings. I think we're going to see outgoings. If we're lucky, maybe one player will come in. But it hasn't been a great transfer window for me so far. It was again disappointing yesterday, but we can only dust ourselves down and we go again. Hopefully, they'll go again. West Brom, they'll beat West Brom, bring some good feeling maybe to the team again, and then go to City, and then we'll build from there. But guys, thank you for giving us your time. Thank you for watching us. Thank you to everybody on the comments, all the guys who've done super chats. Mo, thank you for giving us your time. Lev, you as well. Thanks, man, for being here as always.
You heard it here first. Mo and Shaheen are doing a 3-hour special for transfer deadline day. Yeah, so tune in.
That was never discussed. No, but guys, thank you. Please subscribe to our channel, Arsenal Lounge. Subscribe to Moh Haidar's channel. Hit the like. Don't forget to comment once the video is finished on your lineup against City next week. And then next week, the cutoff deadline will be Saturday evening because the game is on Sunday. And then we'll ask Mo to pick up a winner if there is more than one lineup that matched what Arteta would do. So again, thank you. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you soon.
Big up.